Now then, as some of you know, I spent last weekend from Friday to Sunday near the Venezuelan Embassy and at the Venezuelan Embassy in DC. And if you go to our channel, you'll see some of the videos, some of the footage that I shot there showing the opposition, the pro-Guaido people, just being absolutely disrespectful, shining lights in people's faces, flashing the lights back and forth, which can cause seizures in people and other health problems. Confronting, journalists. They confronted me. They shone their lights in my face, in the camera lens, made kissing sounds like at me, just sexist stuff, demeaning stuff. They told me to go home, made sure I knew that I wasn't welcome there as a journalist, and they've tried to break into the embassy. So in case you're not familiar with it, inside the Venezuelan embassy are embassy protectors, and the embassy protectors are literally protecting the embassy. So the current democratically elected government has allowed them to be in their embassy to protect it from these people who want to overthrow the current democratically elected government, the pro-Juan Guaido people. So the pro-Juan Guaido people are just, they run bullhorns all day, they yell into megaphones all day, they just cause all kinds of havoc and noise, and their mission is to drive the people inside out, to drive journalists out, to drive the supporters who show up on the streets out. They're just rude and awful. I met maybe 3 pro-Guaido people who were willing to talk with me, and I actually interviewed them. I might post that. We'll have to go through the footage and see. But the rest, I hate to say it about like a large group of people, but oh my goodness, these aren't good people. If you were just walking up on the scene there at the U.S. Embassy and just observed for a little bit, you'd instantly see which side you would want to be on. And the side you'd want to be on is the side of peace. The peaceful embassy protectors, their supporters like Code Pink, Medea Benjamin, Ariel Gold. They're peaceful, as is in their name. And the pro-Guaido people are not peaceful. They want war, they want regime change, they welcome U.S. military intervention. They're on the wrong side. They're generally wealthy, they're generally lighter skinned, and a lot of them have been connected to high-powered, very wealthy jobs within the United States. So some people think they're plants. I'm not going to, spread rumors. Who knows what they are? Who knows if they're getting paid or have directions from the top or whatever. All I know is they accuse the peace protectors of being paid and of having millions of dollars and things like this, which they don't. So that's what's going on at the Venezuelan Embassy, and here is an update. This is in Mint Press. Mint Press Gray Zone journalists endure U.S. government blackout and siege at Venezuelan Embassy in D.C. The Trump administration is violating international law and harassing American journalists in plain sight. These actions are sadly taking place in a country that prides itself on upholding the First Amendment to its Constitution, which should be protecting press freedom. And I really apologize about how I'm going to pronounce this name. I'm going to say this is by Minar Mahawesh. And I'm so sorry to that journalist for not getting their name correct. Washington. Mint Press News journalist Alexander Rubinstein and a reporter for the Gray Zone, Anya Parampil, are besieged inside the Venezuelan Embassy in Washington and have been since April 30th in an egregious attack against press freedom. On Wednesday evening, events took a turn for the worse as the Metropolitan D.C. Police cut off the power and water to the building. a violation of international law under the Vienna Diplomatic Convention's Article 25, which reads, "The receiving state shall accord full facilities for the performance of the functions of the diplomatic mission." So, as I told you, there are peace protectors on the inside of the embassy, and they, supporters bring them food, and of course the pro-Guaido people try to block them, and in some cases even steal the food, which is crazy to me that you could do that, deprive people of food, a basic necessity. But now the DC police, which seem to be on the pro-Guaido side, and I think they've been getting their directions from the top, they've cut the water and power off. Now people can't use water, a basic human need. Power, what we do need now in this modern society. This sounds silly maybe, but people do need to charge their cell phones in case of emergency. They need power in case of emergency. There are older people in there who need their medicines, who need food. It's very sad that the DC police are breaking international law and being complicit with the pro-Guaido crowd. It's absolutely terrible. Anya Parampil tweeted, "Watch one of Carlos Vecchio's." So this Carlos Vecchio is pro-Guaido, and I believe that under the Guaido, he's making up his own fake government, essentially. I believe he would be one of the ambassadors for Guaido, or one of the ambassador's workers. He would be someone who, if Guaido were actually in power, would be working inside the embassy. So Anya says, "Watch one of Carlos Vecchio's suited up thugs announce to a cheering crowd of rabid hooligans that U.S. authorities have illegally shut off electricity inside the Maduro government's embassy. Too bad for them. The Embassy Protection Collective still stands strong." It's in Spanish. But you can see that people are cheering. Hopefully you speak Spanish, because I do not. But we can translate Carlos Vecchio's tweet here. And he says, "To the invaders of our embassy who comfortably defend the usurping regime, we have decided to give them a bit of experience of living in Venezuela under the failed socialism of Maduro. As of this moment, they will not have electric power. Next step, your exit." Again, why are the DC police and Secret Service working hand in hand with these people, with this supposed regime, these people who aren't even in power? The U.S. wants Juan Guaido to be in power, but he is not in power. Maduro is the president. But the United States recognizes Juan Guaido as the leader of Venezuela, unfortunately. Anya also says, "Account balance of the Venezuelan Embassy is $0. It is legal. Its legal owners have paid the bill. Sources also tell me Pepco promised not to shut off power as of yesterday. At Pepco Connect, are you aware this shutoff is a violation of international law? Vienna Diplomatic Convention's Article 25. So it's also Pepco Energy that is complicit in this. The bill's fully paid off, yet they allow the electricity to be cut off to an embassy. It's an embassy. How can they cut off the power? There is little doubt that this blackout and the other illegal punitive measures taken against activists and journalists inside the embassy, which have been described by the activists as sanctions, were intended to silence journalists covering the Embassy Protection Collective's efforts to protect the Venezuelan embassy from fascist, pro-Venezuela coup protesters. On Wednesday night, after the power was cut, I spoke with Rubenstein, who said he had 5% battery left on his phone. Members of the collective are living inside the embassy at the invitation of the elected government of Venezuela and show no signs of backing down. U.S. government tactics in Venezuela mirror tactics in D.C. In a video statement, Jenn Dize of Popular Resistance and an activist with the Embassy Protection Collective revealed that the collective has been prepared for the electricity shutdown and pointed to parallels between the way the U.S. government treats the Venezuelan people and what it is doing to the Embassy Collective. Let's try to watch this video.
We expected this, and we're prepared for it, and we're not leaving. It's ironic that the United States government attacked Venezuela's electric grid, and now they're attacking the Embassy of Venezuela's electricity. They attacked Venezuela with sanctions that meant food was difficult to get. They've used sanctions to prevent us from getting food as well. The people of Venezuela have stood in solidarity and strength against these attacks. We're going to do the same thing here. We're not leaving. We're going to resist. We're going to stand in solidarity with the Venezuelan people and the elected government of Venezuela. We're still here, choosing love over fear.
There you have it. Statement from those inside. And Anya says, U.S. authorities illegally cut off power at the Maduro government's diplomatic mission. The Embassy Protection Collective releases a statement saying they were prepared for this, aren't going anywhere, and see parallels between Washington's treatment of Venezuelan people and embassy protectors. Rubenstein and Parampil's coverage is drawing attention to the violent face of the U.S.-backed Venezuelan opposition and to the dire treatment Venezuelans face if the U.S.-backed coup succeeds and installs the Juan Guaidó government. The journalists' live streams, photography, and tweets from their social media pages and coverage for Mint Press News and The Gray Zone have gone viral. Pro-coup protesters are shown assaulting peaceful embassy protectors, violently breaking into the building and vandalizing property, threatening to rape and kill embassy protectors and journalists inside, yelling racist and sexist slurs at them, and taunting the residents of the embassy and journalists by name, and assaulting anyone attempting to bring food inside the building, including women and a 72-year-old man. On Wednesday evening, the pro-coup protesters assaulted the 72-year-old president of Veterans for Peace, Jerry Condon, for symbolically trying to deliver a single cucumber to the embassy protectors. He was then assaulted and tackled again by the Secret Service. Instead of arresting the assailants, the Secret Service arrested the injured elderly man. Please join me in calling on D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, the Committee to Protect Journalists, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch to demand that the D.C. Metropolitan Police and Secret Service be held accountable for allowing harm towards these journalists. Restore power so that these journalists can continue their reporting, and remove the siege that the Secret Service has perversely reinforced on the building to allow food, water, and medical supplies in. It's only a matter of time before these activists could be violently evicted from the embassy by the supporters of the U.S.-appointed Juan Guaidó, despite being invited by the legal government of Venezuela. But the journalists that could be documenting this clear violation of international law are being blocked from reporting it to the world. Such a blackout is worthy of a tin pot dictatorship. The Trump administration is violating international law and harassing American journalists in plain sight. These actions are sadly taking place in a country that prides itself on upholding the First Amendment to its Constitution, which should be protecting press freedom. Let's go ahead and go over to the video showing the arrest. Alex Rubenstein, the journalist, posted, "Breaking. Police violently arrest the president of VFP National," and that's Veterans for Peace, Jerry Condon, for trying to get food into the embassy. He is left with lacerations on his face. Ursula Razum also arrested. Opposition walks away with stolen food. Let's play this.
Through. Let them 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 through. There's. Let them through. They're arresting. They're arresting. who want to give food.
Oh my goodness. The way that they treated that man for trying to deliver a cucumber to the embassy protectors is absolutely absurd and insane. Those officers should be highly reprimanded. I mean, we have the footage. It's absolutely despicable what they did to that man, and the fact that he was left with lacerations on his face is just absolutely inexcusable.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.